As you know already, I'm a big fan of monster movies. To be a fan of anything, you have to be exposed to it first. Growing up in the 80s, there was no internet, so the only way to be introduced to a movie was if you heard about it somewhere, word of mouth, or read about it in a book, or saw it on the shelf of a video store. But the most direct form of exposure was if the movie aired on TV, and that's where MonsterVision helped me out. It was an all-night marathon of monster movies that aired on TNT. It would usually happen on a Saturday night, starting at 8 p.m. and ending at the break of dawn. I'm not sure how long ago MonsterVision started, but I first became aware of it in 1993. I had no idea what these movies were like. It was all a surprise. Every Sunday morning I would wake up, run outside, grab the newspaper from the front lawn, dig out the TV guide, flip to Saturday, and see if there was going to be a MonsterVision that night. When there was, oh boy, all week I couldn't wait. When Saturday would come, I'd camp out in front of that TV all night.
The Blob. Then not all aliens are friendly. Just ask anyone who survived their encounter with the Thing. There's a chill in the air tonight on TNT.
The narrator voice got me so hyped. It was never just MonsterVision. It was always MonsterVision.
When we turn your television into MonsterVision.
All those movie clips started playing. Ooh, what's that from? What's that? I had to be able to identify all the clips. I was always equipped with blank VHS tapes because I had to record all the movies. I might be able to get 2 or more on one tape in extended record mode, but in order to get the whole marathon, I'd have to switch tapes in the VCR a few times. Sleeping wasn't an option. Sometimes I'd drift in and out of my own dreams while the movies were playing, so I'd catch little moments and sometimes couldn't remember if the movies were real or it was just part of my nightmares. There was always some kind of theme. One night it was all Harryhausen movies. Another night it was small titles, big screams.
5 weird sci-fi movies on TNT's MonsterVision, all with one thing in common. Small titles, but big screams.
One time it was all about outer space, and of course they called it MonsterVision.
Strap yourselves in for TNT's MonsterVision.
Best of all, for a whole month they had a Godzilla marathon. You can imagine how exciting that was. And for one particular month, every Saturday, it was hosted by magicians and comedians Penn and Teller. They were posing as security guards watching monster movies on their security monitors. Before the commercial breaks, they would talk about the movie, give some random trivia, and just goof around.
That was cold, you rat bastard.
That was the first time I ever heard the word bastard on TV. Another time, they showed Mysterious Island, and who was the host? Why, none other than our favorite castaway, Bob Denver from Gilligan's Island.
Movies that will scare the ornaments off you. MonsterVision, a Christmas nightmare.
Yeah, Christmas of all nights. And it happened to be a whole marathon of stinkers. This is when I first saw movies like The Giant Claw and The Wasp Woman. Most of the worst movies I've ever seen, I digested them all in one night. Then in 1995, MonsterVision came back full force with more contemporary horror films and a new permanent host, Joe Bob Briggs.
You don't need no special glasses or an insect's head, just a healthy love for slime and disrespect for the dead.
He was so great that most people don't even know MonsterVision existed before Joe Bob came on board. He is the hero of all lovers of monster movies. He made the movies more fun by describing how ridiculous the plots are.
Some goons in San Francisco's Chinatown are going to steal Kurt Russell's truck and shoot fire out of their fingernails and turn a whole heck of a lot of 30-foot somersaults in the air for no reason.
He was always overflowing with trivia, and he's the first person I've ever heard to be able to articulate why lasers are so cool.
Anything that's just basically aiming a blast of deadly light.
And of course, there's his trademark, the drive-in totals, where he tallies up all the best parts of the movie. He always counts the dead bodies, the breasts, there's always something gratuitous, heads roll, then plenty other things roll that normally couldn't roll, and then there's all kinds of different foo.
Kung fu, infant foo.
And he always finishes it up by giving the movie 4 stars.
4 stars. 4 stars. 4 stars. 4 stars. Half stars. So, check it out.
Whenever he says roll the picture, it never happens right away. He keeps talking. You never know what he's going to do. One minute he's talking out the window to somebody who we never see. It feels loose and unscripted. At least it feels unscripted, and that's what made it so fun to watch. Another thing about Joe Bob, he's a big fan of the old stuff. He loves the drive-in, he calls everything else indoor bullshit, and he'd always make fun of the internet.
You don't even know the website address.
I know the website address.
No, you don't.
Yeah, it has .com or net.com or something like that in it.
One time he hosted a Friday the 13th marathon, but they didn't have the rights to show part 4, and that really pissed him off.
I get it. There's crucial plot points in part 4.
He was straight out honest about his creative differences with the network, and most specifically the censorship.
10 breaths. Shame on you TNT censors for taking those out. Every other word you say is either hell or damn. Why do I think there's an extra hell in there?
The biggest problem was the lack of gore. What's the point of showing slasher movies without showing the kills? That's why MonsterVision was better when they were showing older black and white movies, because with those movies, they didn't need to censor anything. Now, the only point of watching MonsterVision wasn't for the movies, but for Joe Bob. For me, personally, at this time, I just worked my way up with the classics, and now I was more mature and ready to see some more modern horror flicks. It was part of my own progression. So if I wanted to see these kind of movies uncut, it meant renting them from the video store. Watching them edited on television was pointless. So that's one of the reasons I think MonsterVision went downhill. The only reason to watch it was for Joe Bob, but even he couldn't save that fact. MonsterVision went off the air in 2000. Since then, with the abundance of DVDs and the ability to find out about movies through the internet, we're no longer dependent on television. Still, I dream and hope that in some form or another, MonsterVision will come back. But I know it's not going to happen.